Who's up next, all? Arsenal, Tottenham.
Yeah. Game of the weekend?
100%.
Look, Spurs have been... I know it took them a long time to get the win, but at the end of the day, like, I think, you know, good teams also will come back and win in those moments. Obviously very unlucky for Sheffield it would have been a great win for them. But I find it interesting that Spurs or that Arsenal are so heavily favoured at home. Spurs are second on the table at the end of the day, you know, despite maybe a lackluster performance last week. They've been scoring, really coming into like nice new shape in terms of life after Harry Kane. You know, they're making it work. Son's coming into form. For me, 4.20 on a Spurs win. I don't think it's going to be a Spurs win, but it's 4.20 on a draw as well. And I can very much see this. Like, Arsenal have been winning. Like we said last week, they haven't been winning in the same way that we thought they would, the same sort of flamboyance and confidence. I think Spurs maybe treated a bit unfairly here with the odds. Again, I don't know if there's maybe an injury I don't know about or something, but I really like this game to go 2-2. And I think if you are going to put down some money, 4.20 on a draw is not a bad bet. Considering that there will probably be a draw at some stage, and your cash out option will also skyrocket a bit. You know, so even if you did want to take a half-time cash out, the scores were locked in at 1-1 or something like that. But yeah, 2-2 is my score.
Historically, Arsenal have been good at the Emirates in the North Island derby. I think this will be Spurs, the real test of Spurs, if they've actually, you know, moved on from Harry Kane or not, because they've played United, but I wouldn't say the games they've played have been.
Well, they didn't do well against top 5 teams last year, did they, Tottenham?
I don't think they did very well but they were in the top 4 race until probably the last 10 games of last season. So I don't think they were doing badly. It was more, I think, Conte imploded and he just completely lost his head, and then it all fell apart.
Yeah.
But Spurs have been playing well. I think though Arsenal, they did really well against PSV last night. I think they won 4-0. They're going to be confident going into this game. I think this is also a different Arsenal team in that they don't necessarily break. They don't, you know, they've matured from last season. They won't, even if Spurs go 1-0 up, I think Arsenal they're too composed and confident this season. So even though they aren't necessarily winning in the most, you know, they're not blowing teams away. They're not winning by 3 or 4 goals every week.
Except for last night.
Yeah, except for last night. But
in the Champions League.
I think that even if they go 1-0 down, they can easily come back. So I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-1 Arsenal. I think this is where Tottenham are weighed and measured and going to be found wanting.
If Spurs get through this, though, they are a serious team this season. If they can come away from this with something, then I don't think we can doubt that they're a quality team this season.
Yeah, we'll see. That's why they play the games. 3-0 for me. I think Arsenal put them to the sword. Because Tottenham haven't played anybody. Okay, they beat Man United, but we've seen Man United form. Man United's not a good team.
Yeah.
You know, but Arsenal put 3 past United at home. For me, I think that this is a big test for. And you're right. If they come through this, if they get all 3 points, wow, then you can say, okay, they're definitely going to be knocking on Champions League door. But with the money I'm putting on Man City at 40%, you know. Ollie, what are you thinking?
I gave my monologue before you guys.
What a fucking I'm so old. I got to get off the crack pipe when I come in here.
2-2 is my score.
2-2, okay. All right, so sorry about that. Who's up next, Al?
We've got Sheffield United playing Newcastle.
Well, this game for me, Newcastle have to, you know, continue if they want to be Champions League contenders, to qualifiers for this year. So I think that Newcastle 3-1.
I like it 2-0.
I think this week will be a real test because they played against Milan on Tuesday, I think it was, and this is the first time I think in a while that Newcastle have had midweek commitments consistently. So. And I think historically, if you look at the first season a team qualifies for the Champions League, there is a guaranteed like knockoff in their domestic performance. I think when Liverpool first qualified under Jurgen Klopp, They made it to the final of the Champions League, but they scraped 4th place. I think Arsenal really suffered when they qualified for Europa League. Spurs usually take a knock when they qualify for the Champions League. And I think I'm not classifying Newcastle as a team of the size, but West Ham and Burnley, when they first qualified for Europe, their league performance, I mean, Burnley got relegated basically the next season, and West Ham were in a relegation battle the whole of last season while they were in Europe.
Yeah.
So if Newcastle, I think this is their first game, so they should be fine. But I think the narrative going throughout the season that they need to be careful with and they don't have a very big squad, but I'm going to go for a Sheffield win 1-0. Just because I'm taking a risk. I need to get my numbers up.
Well, that's not the way to do it.
Anyway, but if it works out.
If it works out, we'll bow down to you.
Brighton, Bournemouth.
Bournemouth.
Actually, before the Sheffield game. Sorry, I jumped that one.
It's okay. Brighton, Bournemouth. I'll let you go.
Yeah, I think Brighton maybe you might see not
due for some regression.
Hey, no. I wouldn't say due for some regression, just maybe not as assertive or surprising a win. But I think they'll win comfortably. But I think they may, not to say that sports teams ever go and consciously hold back, but I definitely think that there's something to be said of the sort of subconscious and the it's a long season and you go and you beat Man United 3-1. Yeah. You host Bournemouth the next week. It's not as easy to get up for.
Yeah,
so
it's easy to psych yourself up to play at Old Trafford.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I see Brighton still winning, but 2-0 for me, not a particularly interesting game.
Yeah. Moneyball?
I think Bournemouth will score because I think they've been good this season. But I can still see a comfortable Brighton win. I think a lot of their starters were rested against United. I think if Solly March comes back in, if Evan Ferguson is fit, Estupiñán comes back in, then I think against United they played probably only 5 first-team players, and they blew them away. So if they can get even 3 or 4 of those guys back in, I think I can see a 4-1 Brighton.
Okay. Yeah, I say 3-1 Brighton. I mean, they look good, and I don't think they get enough credit. They're Rodney Dangerfield of the Premier League. They just get no respect. So 3-1 for me. They keep on marching. Who else is there? Any games left? All?
No, that's that.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, my picks of the week would have to be around United. On the what are they? 15-20.
Yeah. 75%.
75%. Yeah, I like that. I like the over 3.5 goals with Liverpool and West Ham, and I love the 40% return you can get on a long-term investment. Man City winning that league.
So there you have it, folks. 6 rounds in, we finally got some betting advice out of it.
Well, yeah, I'm just not as fast as I used to be.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks guys, and look forward to the show next week.
Thanks, Kev.
Thanks, man.
Cheers.